a wet cloth in my hand. Past midnight. Meera was 2.5 months old. That morning, she'd had her first vaccine. All morning, she'd been fine, smiling, feeding well. But that night, her body was burning. I checked the thermometer twice. 102. My hands were shaking. Rain outside. I was alone, my mother in the next room. My mother, Meera's party, pushed the door open and burst out. "What did you people do? Look what's happened to the baby." I didn't say a word. I sat there with my hand on her forehead. Only one question turning in my mind. Had I done something wrong? My mother went straight to the kitchen and put some kashiam to boil. "We don't need all this chemical injection," she muttered. She told me a whole story about how in her time none of this existed. She said she'd raised me on just 2 vaccines. I didn't stop her. I didn't say no either. I just sat there watching Meera's chest rise and fall. That silence was the only conversation between the two of us that night. The next morning, I ran to the doctor. Meera in my arms, fear in my head. "Doctor, did I do something wrong?" I asked. He smiled. There was a reassurance in that smile. The doctor said calmly, "Fever means the body is responding to the vaccine. The immune system is practicing. Think of it as the body running a war drill. No fever doesn't mean nothing's wrong, Krishnan. It's actually a good sign that the body is paying attention," he added. In my opinion, that was the first lesson I learned that day. Fever isn't an enemy's attack. It's our own soldiers' training. That day, the doctor asked me a question. "What are you actually afraid of? The fever or the guilt that you did something wrong?" I couldn't answer. He said, "That's the real problem for most parents. They're not afraid of the fever. They're afraid while blaming themselves." That one line stayed with me for a long time. I realized that day I'd been mixing up guilt with fear without even knowing it. The exact numbers the doctor gave me still stay with me. Between 99 and 101 degrees for a day or two, that's usual. The baby might cry a bit, might lose some interest in feeding. "None of that needs panic," he said. I still remember him saying, "If you keep that 1 or 2 day window in mind, half our midnight panics would settle on their own. But if it crosses 1 or 2 or lasts more than 2 days, or the baby refuses milk or seems unusually drowsy, that's when you call the doctor." That's the line. The same method I now tell Meenakshi. A damp cloth on the forehead, not overwrapping the baby, keeping the milk or fluids going. Keep the room cool, but don't point the AC directly at the baby. That was another simple point from the doctor. If fever medicine is needed, only the doctors dose. Don't give a double dose because Pati said give a bit more. Simple rule, but so few people know it. Now it's Ajay's vaccine day. 27 years later, I'm beside the same kind of cot, now as a grandfather. Since morning, Payal has been sending me 20 questions an hour. How much fever is normal? When do we go to hospital? I answer calmly, but I know the fear inside her is no different from my mother's fear that night. "Appa, am I tiring you out with all these questions?" she messaged once. I just replied, "No da, ask away." Meenakshi is afraid in a different way now. She doesn't speak. She just sits outside Ajay's room, watching the door. Payal's questions and Meenakshi's silence. 2 different outfits on the same fear. In my opinion, one generation shows fear by shouting, the next shows it by typing. The vocabulary of love changes. The feeling doesn't. I don't judge either of them. My own mother was standing in that same fear that night, all those years ago. There's something in common between Meenakshi boiling her kashayam and Payal, endlessly Googling. Both carry a feeling that they don't have enough information. Meenakshi never had enough information, so she trusts the experience of her own time. Payal has too much information, so she's confused about what's actually right. Neither fear is wrong. Both need the same solution. one trustworthy doctor, one simple, clear answer. That's what settles both generations. What I tell Payal is this: before you start Googling, call the doctor once. I tell Meenakshi the very same thing. I walked into Ajay's room. I put my hand on his forehead. It was warm, but I wasn't afraid. 27 years ago, that same hand was on Meera's forehead. That day, it carried fear. Today, it carries calm. It's not because I became a doctor. It's only because I've watched fever through 3 generations now. Meenakshi came and stood beside me, looking at Ajay. She said nothing, but the fear in her eyes had eased a little. How was the first vaccine day in your house? Did Pati panic? Did you panic, or both? Tell me below. Share this video with a parent who's afraid right now.